त्रिनयनां माणिक्यमौली स्फुरत् तारानायकशेखरां स्मितमुखीमां मीनवक्षोरुहां पाणिभ्यामलिपूर्णरत्नचषकं रक्तोत्पलं बिभ्रतीं सौम्यां रत्नघटस्थरक्तचरणां ध्यायेत् परामम्बिकाम् सततज्वर विषमज्वर ग्रह नक्षत्र दोषाञ्चान्या हर हर काली सर सर गौरी गम गम विद्ये आले माले काले बन्धे भज भज विद्ये मख मख विद्ये नाशय नाशय पापम् हर हर दुःस्वप्नं विध्वंसय विध्वंसय
Namaste. Suprabhatam. Welcome you all for today's session on guidance for sadhana from Sri Ma Anandamayi's teachings. And we're going to have this from none other than His Holiness Acharya Sri Mangalananda, who is joining with us from Novato, California, USA. And we welcome Acharya Mangalananda for this session today. And his disciple, we have another sadhika also with us. We welcome her also with us today. Namaste. On behalf of Indica Yoga Academy's Global Festival of Yoga, we have been having this month-long series on various aspects of yoga. And in this, we are so delighted to have Acharya ji with us, because he's going to give us the wonderful path of sadhana, that too based on the teachings of the great mother, Ma Anandamayi Ma. Friends, we all know the great women saint of India who lived in the late 1890s, and until I think 1982, she was here walking around, and an enlightened master, a loving mother, that was Ma Anandamayi Ma. I think next only after Shri Ma Sharda Devi, if somebody was representing the motherhood, a living embodiment of motherhood, it was Shri Ma Anandamayi Ma, about whom in the autobiography of Yogi, Paramhamsa Yoganandaji also mentions with all great reverence, such a living mother she was. And even now, the mother guides through her inner radiance, her spiritual guidance to thousands of people across the world. And we are so happy that Acharya Mangalananda is a direct disciple of Shri Ma, and also he is direct disciple of her close associate Shri Swami Bhaskarananda. And after receiving the initial initiations from Ma Anandamayi, our Swami Acharya Mangalananda was directed by Swami Bhaskarananda to start the school of Ma Anandamayi Ma at Omkareshwar, which is one of the Jyotirlinga Sthala, and he was there for more than 12 years teaching the teachings of Ma Anandamayi. And then he went to different parts of US and Europe, and wherever he goes, he had been conducting classes of kirtan, the kirtan concerts, and giving the guidance of sadhana and bhakti and mass teachings to everybody. And currently he lives in San Francisco Bay Area in the US, where he continues to do his sadhana and seva for Ma. So we are again very blessed to have a wonderful sadhaka who is blessed by an enlightened master of our times, Ma Anandamayi Ma. And once again, I welcome Acharya Mangalananda and his team to give us this wonderful guidance for sadhana, because today we are doing various forms of yoga, but it all started with the sadhana of the great ancient masters. And we again request Acharya ji to introduce his team who is with him today, and then he will guide us what sadhana is and how we are going to proceed, especially some of his personal experiences probably with Shri Ma Anandamayi Ma, and also he will guide us through the kirtan. So Shri Ma Sharanam, and once again we are going to be delighted to have you with us. So please introduce your team, Acharya ji.
Jai Ma. So am I unmuted? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, Acharya ji.
Very good. So as you said, my name is Mangalananda. This is my wife and Dharmapatni, Gloria.
Jai Ma.
And we have off camera my friend Robert Adamich, who is joining us on acoustic guitar. And we're keeping him socially distanced so we can observe the correct protocol since we're not wearing masks. So, and you briefly introduced Sri Anandamayi Ma, but let me say a little bit more. As you said, Paramhamsa Yogananda, in his classic book, Autobiography of a Yogi, devoted an entire chapter to her. He called her the bliss-permeated mother of Bengal, and he was very impressed with her spiritual stature. He met her when Ma was very young. In 1936, I thought. She must have been like maybe 40 years old. I met her when she was in her late 70s in 1973 and traveled through India with her in 73 and 74 and eventually received diksha from her. And she was an amazing influence in the 20th century. So many people came for her darshan. And she had a few people, she gave diksha to herself, but mostly people had other gurus, and they looked upon her as the universal mother, and their gurus would send them to Ma because they had such reverence. So she had a huge influence. People like Mahatma Gandhi would come to her for advice and ask her to stay with him. Then later, after independence, the leaders of the new republics came to her and asked her for guidance. Everyone sought her blessing. She was an amazing manifestation of divinity. She never had a time when she attained illumination. When she opened her eyes at birth, she was in a state of perfect non-dual consciousness, and she never stepped out of this for a moment to her last breath, as you said, in 1982. So we can, this, in today's talk that we're discussing, So this is the source of these teachings we'll talk about today. So it's something that can be truly relied upon. And Ma spoke nothing new. She spoke the great, deep, ancient traditions of India, of Sanatana Dharma, and of Bharatiya Sanskriti. So what she's taught has been proven over so many untold centuries. But she spoke it in a very clear, practical way that's so beautiful and so loving and so sweet. She had an amazing motherly sweetness about her, and everything she did, every movement of her hand and every movement of her body just brought across this freedom of consciousness she had and care and love for people. So it was a beautiful thing to witness. So I would like to start by invoking Ma's presence with, we'll say a few Guru mantras and then sing this simple kirtan, Om Ma Sharanam. I take refuge in Ma. Sharanam, you are my refuge, Ma. And they will say Anandamayi Ma. Om Ma Sharanam. Okay? And I want to apologize first. This Zoom platform is not made for music. It's very good for interaction with speaking, but it doesn't pick up music well. So we're going to do the music doesn't come through very clearly, but we're going to do the best we can with what we have. Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om Bhavata Papranashanye Ananda Ghanamurtaye Jnana Bhakti Mukti Pradayane Matastubhyam Namo Namaha Matastubhyam Namo Namaha Om Ma Sharanam 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 Anandamayi Ma 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 Anandamayi Ma, 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 Anandamayi Ma. Om Ma Sharanam, 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 Om Ma 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 Om Ma Sharanam. Now together. Om Ma Sharanam. Om Ma Sharanam. Om Ma Sharanam. Om Ma Sharanam. Om.
I would like to request all our participants also to join, repeating the beautiful bhajans that Acharya ji and Srimati Acharya ji are leading us. So it's a very wonderful, blissful experience in the morning here in India and for evening in other parts of the world. For us to join the sadhana, it is for all of us to participate. So they are very simple names that he is taking of the Ma, and so we can all repeat with eyes closed in a meditative state. It's an experience by itself. So thank you, Acharya ji, for this wonderful leading. Please, we are interested more and more to get immersed in the sea of divine bliss in Sri Ma's presence. Please go ahead, Acharya ji.
Okay. So if we're thinking about sadhana and yoga, first we have to think, what is sadhana and why do we meditate? Why do we do sadhana? Because these days there are so many meditation methods, there are meditation apps on phones, people meditate in offices, which is all good, but what is the traditional reason to meditate? And that is, in the human condition we find ourselves in, we feel incomplete. We feel a sense of incompleteness, and it's true because we are, because we've lost contact with our deeper inner nature, which is immortal, which is divine, which is part of the unity of life. We've lost that contact. We've become fragmented. So really the only real motivation to a meditation should be to unite with our full self, our true immortal self, the Atma. And this Atma is already connected with God. So to realize God, to realize ourself, is the real motivation for meditation. And things like peace of mind, clarity of mind, able to work better, able to live more carefully, is an important thing, but these are all side effects that come from meditation. Our motivation and our longing should be for this reunion with our true self and with God. And meditation will bring us to this state. It will complete our nature. It will bring us back into completion, into unity. We'll talk about how this is done. So there are many meditation methods. All are good, but some will take you to this final goal and some will not. Some will take you along the way. Traditionally within India and within any true spiritual lineage, whether it's Christian or Sufi or Sikh, the names of God are considered of supreme importance. Supreme importance. We have in the Vedas themselves, we have in the Upanishads, we have witnessed that the name is one. We say Naam, Nami, Ek Hai. They're one. So when we say Ram, we are manifesting Ram. This is called Shabda Brahman. This is God manifesting as sound itself, a sound form of the divine. And these mantras were heard by the ancient rishis, and they passed them on to us in an unbroken succession, so we know how to pronounce these names, which put us into contact with our deeper self. These divine names from Om, from which all mantras come, they all sound in the deepest recesses of our inner nature. And the reason we're not experiencing this inner nature is because a veil of ignorance has separated us. But these mantras, and the ignorance is made of the tossing, the visheka of the mind, the different thoughts, then what's developed in the individual ego. These are all the obscurities that are keeping us from this inner union. The mantra is always sounding in the depths of our being. And when we bring our mind to it, it brings us through that veil into union with ourself, through long and dedicated practice. But the very vibration of the mantra is divine. Let me read a little bit about what Ma said about this, because we're going by Ma's words. The words of Sri Ma Uvacha. Karma accumulated for ages and ages, as well as sins and desires, are wiped out by God's sacred name. Just as lighting a lamp illuminates a cave that has been in darkness for centuries, so the obscurity of numberless births is annihilated by the power of a divine name. Through God's name, the pull of evil is vanquished. There is a saying that it is impossible for man to commit as many sins as can be annulled by God's name. Just as a single spark of fire can consume more things than you are ever able to accumulate, so by the contemplation of the Supreme Being, by the endeavor to approach Him, all your sins will be obliterated. The destructible will be destroyed and reality stand revealed. So we see this use of the name, the mantra, is what brings us, it purifies the mind, calms the thoughts, and brings us through that veil of ignorance into touch with our real self, which is already in contact with the greater divine, being a spark of divine itself and its nature. So there are many ways, there are many mantras, there are infinite mantras, invoking different aspects of God, and there are different ways to use them. So let's talk about some practical uses that Ma talked about. Repetition of mantra, as I'm sure many know, is called japa. Japa is the repetition of mantra, and mantra is vitalized and made alive through repetition. Our mind is constantly going in all different directions. This is the human condition. In 1 minute we can have 1,000 thoughts going here, here, here. And this discursive thinking is what's keeping us from realizing the truth. So through japa, through repetition of mantra, we bring the mind to a point. The sound of the mind will charm the name and start to bring it from this dispersion into a concentrated thought pattern. If we're saying Ram, the next word is Rama, Ram, 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 Ram. The mind begins to go in a straight line. It goes in a straight line inward. So first of all, it collects our discursive mind, but then the hidden power within the mantra, which is latent in every mantra, through repetition, through long repetition over a long period of time, begins to awaken, and the consciousness, the mantra chaitanya within any mantra, then comes and permeates the mind and opens up whole new vistas of spirituality. Let me read a little more of what Ma says. Here we talked about Naam, Nami, Eke. Here Ma says, the name and the named are identical, for he himself appears as Naam. The Akshara, the letter, the indestructible letter, is indeed God's own guise. When the name one repeats becomes alive, it is like when a seed is sown, the tree grows out of it. If the name that appeals most to any particular person is constantly repeated, one arrives at the realization that all names are his names, and all forms are his forms. Furthermore, that he is without name and form will also little by little come to light. So through taking any name that we feel attracted to, if we've had the great grace to have met an illumined teacher and they've given us a mantra in diksha, this is a wonderful blessing. But Ma told us that if we take any name we feel attracted to, any form we feel attracted to, and repeat this faithfully, we will make progress, and anything else that is needed in our spiritual life will come to us on its own if we're just faithfully practicing with what we know. So all names have equal power, and all have equal sanctity and saving grace within them. I'm reading from a small book I wrote about Anandamayi Ma called A Goddess Among Us. It's available both in English and Hindi from Amazon. And it has, if you want to know more about the life of Anandamayi Ma and her amazing time on earth and the influence she had, this gives a small sketch of Ma's life and also some of her teachings and some of my memories of being with her also. But she exhorts us to try throughout the day and in meditation to repeat this name. And we'll talk about practically how we do this, how Ma recommended meditating with the name and speaking it. But let's listen to a little what she says. Ma says, listen, Suno, do not let your time pass idly. Either keep a mala, a rosary with you and do japa, or if this does not suit you, at least go on repeating the name of the Lord regularly and without interruption, like the ticking of a clock. There are no rules or restrictions in this. Invoke him by the name that appeals to you most for as much time as you can, the longer the better. Even if you get tired or lose interest, administer the name to yourself like a medicine that should be taken. In this way, you will, at some auspicious moment, discover the mala of the mind, and then you will constantly hear within yourself continually the praises of the great Master, the Lord of creation, like the never-ceasing music of the boundless ocean. You will hear the land and the sea, the air and the heavens reverberate with the song of his glory. This is called the all-pervading presence of his name. I practice mantra japa and mantra meditation as my sadhana for well over 45 years. And I can tell you that it is very true that the mantra will draw you into different states of consciousness, give you different experiences, and you will experience it sometimes vibrating in all creation and within your whole soul. Mas continues, silent japa should be engaged in at all times. One must not waste breath uselessly. Whenever one has nothing special to do, one should silently practice japa in rhythm with one's breathing. In fact, this exercise should go on continually until japa has become as natural as breathing. This is an important point. She just told us how the breath and the mind are very closely linked. And if we use the breath as a help in mantra japa. It is very, very, very powerful. And so throughout the day, we're always breathing, but we're not aware of it. So if we bring our awareness to the breath and just watch it moving and then add the mantra with it, it's very powerful, and it helps us and reminds us throughout the day. We always have our breath there. We have to just become aware of it and link the mantra to it. And you will find by doing this that the mantra begins to vibrate in the breath, in the mind, in the body, and open up incredible things and bring great and deep peace and joy. It's a very joyful process. It takes some time to get used to it. It takes time to train the mind to a point of concentration so that we keep our mind on the mantra. But once we get adjusted to it and we start really practicing it faithfully, it brings great joy. It's a very joyful practice. And like I say, there are many mantras. Now, so we have mantra japa, which we do in our mind and with our speech, but also we can use mantra communally, as we're doing, and kirtan. Kirtan is a wonderful practice of taking the names and putting it to different ragas, different scales and melodies and joyful songs. And then we can't do this now because we're separated, but usually the leader will sing, everyone will respond, and the joy and the bhav just grows. And it's such a wonderful, joyful practice. So this is you can say, the external mode of using mantra. So let's try a little more of that. Let's sing this wonderful mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, the mantra of Shiva. Shiva, the auspicious one, the Purusha, and the underlying consciousness on which the dance of creation rests. So we pronounce it correctly. We say Om. I've heard Westerners say Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah, Namah, and then Shiva. It's a long ah, Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. So let's just sing this to this melody for a couple of minutes and see how in singing it attracts the mind. The joyful sound of this mantra attracts the mind and begins to make us more inward. Om Shankar Bhagavan ki jai. Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Namah Shivaya, Om 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 Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Om 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 Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Om Namah Parvati Patye Hara Hara Mahadev. So this is the joy of kirtan, taking these mantras and repeating them to a beautiful melody and singing it communally. And this has wonderful, wonderful effects. Wherever kirtan is done, the entire atmosphere is changed, and there's a power that goes out to wherever it's needed. So many saints have recommended doing kirtan, and Ma was intimately associated with kirtan from her early youth when she was a child of 4 or 5. She said when she would hear a kirtan in a neighboring village, she lived in a little, a village near Dhaka in Bengal, East Bengal, and whenever she would hear a kirtan going on in the evening, she would just be drawn to it. And so many times she was she was at a kirtan when she was just 5 years old, and she went into bhava samadhi with tears streaming her face and just sat like a rock, and just at an early age. And when I was traveling with Ma, wherever we were, whenever we had satsang, we were sitting with Ma, and she would always say, "Don't sit idly, sing the divine name." She would have people start kirtan and be doing this kirtan all the time. She showed beautifully this teaching that there is power in the divine name in her own body. She told people, these powers in the mantras are divine and all-powerful. And she, in the early days when she was doing kirtan, she went into a state of what's called mahabhava, which is very rare for yogis even to go into. We see Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we see Radharani going to Mahabhava, but in our own time, in our own lifetime, here was Ma entering Mahabhava. There was many kirtans going on in their first ashram of Ma in Bengal. And the Bengali tradition of doing it, they have an altar in the middle, and they do what's called Naam Yagya, and they carry the instruments and walk round and round the altar while singing the divine names. So this first happened when Ma was just in her late 20s. This was like in the 1930s sometime. The kirtan was going on very wonderfully, and suddenly Ma came in the room, and people who saw this. I've been in kirtans with Ma, but I never witnessed this myself. This was in the early days. The people who saw this said that Ma's body had no motivation on. It was literally moved by the divine names. And she was there standing on the tips of her big toes with her arms raised. Her face had been flushed crimson, and her body swayed with the rhythm of the mridanga. And it was just like there was no motivation. It was the names moving her. And suddenly she would fall on the ground and roll like she's just like a white flash, and suddenly be drawn back up like this. And the kirtan got more and more ecstatic. And then after it was over, Ma slumped down, and these mantras just flowed from her mouth like the Vedas of ancient Sanskrit. And Ma would do this many times. This happened many times in kirtan with Ma. And one time there was a kirtan group up in Simla, and they witnessed this, and they were just amazed to see this Mahabhav coming in their own day. They'd only seen in their lineage of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. So Ma was very much stressed kirtan always, and always wanted us to do this. But now, kirtan is a wonderful purifying act, but the main thing we need to use the mantra with is to still the mind and bring the mind inward to its source. And this we use the mantra japa and mantra dhyan for. Here is how Ma said to join it with the breath. This is a very important teaching, and we'll work with this by the end of the session. We'll have a quick session where we try doing this. So Ma says, through breath energy, consciousness pervades matter. Talking about prana. Everything that is alive breathes. When breath stops, one dies. Physical life depends on breath. Through prana, as life energy, matter becomes alive. Listen, this is important. Desires and a wandering mind make the breath impure. So in our normal state, the breath is impure. It's not reflecting the purity of God. Therefore, Ma is saying, I advise the practice of concentration on breathing combined with taking any one of God's names. If the breath and the mind become one-pointed and steady, then the mind expands to infinity, and all phenomena are included in that one all-inclusive point. In other words, by concentrating the mind on the breath with the mantra, at one point, grace comes, which is what is always needed. And the mind expands then to fill consciousness, which is limitless. If you think of God with the breath, it will purify the prana, the physical sheath, and the mind. If you breathe while thinking of God's name, you will feel the call of His grace. Ma continues, the self or God, because these are synonymous, the real self is divine and a part of God. The self or God is unknowable to the ordinary intelligence, but He is not unknown to us as the life breath. So she's saying that the life breath is actually a manifestation of God, this prana that we breathe in and out. If one uses the rhythm of one's breathings as a support in meditation, this increases one's power. Therefore, one should daily sit in a meditative pose in a solitary place and turn the mind inward and repeat the mantra in rhythm with one's breathing without straining, in a natural way. When through prolonged practice the name becomes inextricably linked with the breath, the body quite still, one will come to realize that the individual is part of the one great life that pervades the universe. So this is our goal, to realize ourselves to the unity of life, the oneness of life, and our consciousness as being one with that. And Ma has told us this can come through the repetition of the name and meditation on the name. So let's, I'm checking our time here. Let's do one more kirtan with another mantra that's very usable, and then let's try this meditation as Ma said. I'll lead us through it, okay? So this is a wonderful mantra. The simple mantra, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Concentrating on the mind of Ram. But I wrote this particular kirtan for Anand Ashram from Papa Ramdas, Kerala. And they add Om verse. So it says, Om, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram 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 Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om 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 Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai 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 Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Ram, Ram. So we have let's try just a minute practicing this mantra with the breath. So wherever you are, excuse me, wherever you are, just sit quietly, have the chest and the stone and the spine erect, and just relax the body, and then relax the mind. And feel the mind just resting in this present moment. Feel just here and now. And then feel the natural flow of the breath. Just feel its touch at the nostrils, moving in and out of its own accord. And then you add any mantra you want. Any mantra you work with, you can use the simple mantra of Ma, Om Ma. So as you breathe in, you mentally intone Om Ma. As you breathe out, Om Ma, Om Ma. Letting the mantra fill the breath. And if the mind runs off, we simply bring it back to the moment, resting in the breath. Hari Om. See, this is a simple process, but it can take a lifetime of work to master. So we're just watching the breath in the present moment, letting the mind and the mantra fill the breath. And if we continue with this, it will bring us great spiritual benefit and ultimate spiritual victory. So I think our time at this point is where we have Q&A. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to see if I can answer them. Are you there, Anuradhaji? We're here,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, thank you, Acharya ji and Mataji, for this wonderful, experience that you had given us through the holy chanting of the divine names. And I'm sure, all our participants are still there in the meditative state. In fact, I'm excited by the number. We had 108 participants. When we do repeat the name, it's always, in Japa, we do 108 times the Japa. So I was feeling as if the Shiva Nama or the Mas Naam or Ram Naam that you were telling. So 108 participants were chanting along with you. So that made it a wonderful, yajna as such, a Nama yajna, as you rightly said. So,
People are able to answer questions. We have a few minutes still, right?
Yes. So we have one question, which I think already when you read from Shrima, I think you have answered, but still I would like to mention the question here from Cindy Levia. How do we link the mental mantra repetition with the breath? Just sound just with exhalation, or manipulating the breath to fit with the harmony of the chant?
Very good question. In the meditation, we try to find the natural rhythm of the breath. We don't change the breath to fit the mantra. We change the mantra to fit the breath. So we feel the flow of the breath, and it can be different speeds at different times. And if we have a very long mantra, like say we have Om Namo Narayanaya, on the inhalation we can say Om Namo, exhalation Narayanaya, or even Om Namah Shivaya. But a simple breath, a simple mantra like Om Ma, inhaling, Om Ma, exhaling. So we just work and find a way that feels very natural and relaxed for us. We can break the mantra up, but we fit it with the natural rhythm of the breath, because then it takes us much deeper. If we're controlling the breath and making ourselves breathe deeply, or there are times when we do in pranayama make ourselves breathe deeply, but in this method, we're trying to find that natural flow and matching the rhythm of the mantra to that. Very good question.
Wonderful. Thank you, Acharya ji. And then we have a next question where Jane asked this question. So she's asking, for mantra meditation, would there be any significant difference between reciting in the heart and speaking it loud? And what's the daily practice that we can do, especially in a quiet city apartment, without disturbing others too much?
Again, a very good question. Mantra japa, they say, it has different ways. When you speak it out loud, it affects us, because then we hear it with our physical ears and we can tune the mind to it. So it's very good to just sit and say, Om Ma, Om Ma, Om Ma, Om Ma. That is a good start, because we start to tune into the sound. But then we can say it with just moving, we can say it very quietly just to ourselves, just Om Ma, Om Ma, Om Ma. That takes us deeper. Then we can say it just moving, letting the lips and the teeth pronounce the words, but no sound. And then the most effective and the strongest is we just say it mentally. And we can use all those at different times. If the mind becomes distracted, you can say it out loud for a few minutes and then go back to the mental. But we try to ultimately rest in the mental repetition, because that's the strongest. We just quietly say it with the breath, as you said. And a good practice is just to do this. Chant the mantra out loud for a while, quietly, without disturbing anyone, and then take it more subtle with just moving the lips, and then make it more subtle with just the breath and the mental repetition. And this, I practiced many yogas in my life. I've done a lot of kriyas. I just still do some kriyas. I've lived with some yogis for a couple of years where we experimented with all these different complex kriyas up and down the spine and visualization of the chakras and colors and heat, and had psychic effects, but they didn't have the depth of this simple process. This consciousness is simple. And so the meditation technique should be simple, and just simply relaxing into the sound of the mantra mentally with the breath is hugely effective to expanding consciousness. Does that answer the question?
Yes, of course. That was wonderful. And I think part of the next question you already answered, but still for clarity, I would like to put the question forth again to you, Acharyaji. There is a question from one of our participants. How do we know that mantra has come alive with Chaitanya? Also, how long does it normally take for the mantra to come alive? Like the way you mentioned, it vibrates within our body. And how long does it normally take for that? Yeah.
Okay. Mantra Chaitanya. Believe me, you know it when it happens. It happened with me with Gayatri Mantra, where suddenly it sinks into a deeper level and it becomes a living thing within you. And it's, believe me, nobody has to tell you when it happens. It happens. Now, Ma talked about enlightenment. She says, when you strike a match, or if she's thinking of when you're striking fire like with a flint, you strike and strike. You don't know when the strike, you hear that strange noise that's coming from somewhere. You don't know when the spark will hit the cotton and make the flame. So there's no time factor. We can't say after so many repetitions this will happen. We repeat with faith and with love, and we give the effects to God, back to our Guru, and we just practice. Our job is to show up and keep working. And in God's time, by God's grace only, the mantra will come alive. So it's our duty to practice and leave the results in the hands of God. But so we can't say, and we don't know. We may in past lives have practiced with this mantra, so we can just do it, for a short time, and suddenly it comes awake. It may take, and it usually takes years of dedicated practice daily, and it is cumulative. We have to practice some every day. If we have a long break, even a short break of 2 days, we lose that power of accumulation. So if we practice regularly, mantra Chaitanya will awaken in a mantra through God's grace.
Acharyaji, and one last question I think we have. So can we chant even while doing our karma yoga, doing our daily activities? Even with that, can we chant, or should we sit separately for dedicated time and do the chanting?
They're both supported. This is also very good questions. They are supported. Japa through the day supports and makes your mantra meditation, sitting meditation stronger. When you sit stronger, you're able to do japa through the day. And there are two supportive practices. Ma said, you know, the word mudra. Mudra is a position of the hands you put in which affects the mind. She says, let your mudra be the simple work you're doing, whether it's peeling a potato, cutting up some vegetables, making something with your hands, mowing the yard, driving your car. Let this be your mudra and let the mind stay on the japa. This is not easy. This is something that takes a lot of practice. But the more and more, and we'll find more and more times we can do it. Don't ever be waiting. If you're standing in line, start doing a mantra. If you're driving your car, if you're working, if you're walking is a wonderful time to sit and just walk and look at the trees and with your breath say the mantra. So we make times to say the mantra. And the more we do it, the deeper our meditation is. And the meditation will strengthen this japa also. Let's see, there was a second part to that question, wasn't there? So yes, we can do and we should do as much as we can throughout the day. Ma Anandamayi, the last thing she said to me when I had the last private with Ma, and I told her I couldn't extend my visa anymore, I had to go back to America, and I asked her, I said, Ma, are there any further instructions since I have to go back to America? And she said, I'm given the instructions, so you just do them. Then she looked at me very intently and she said, do japa all the time. Hamesha Naam jap karna. Hamesha. And so this is a lifelong effort. But if you do it, it becomes easier and easier, and eventually you have what's called a japa, where the japa pronounces itself as you breathe. The very breath pronounces the mantra. This is the fruit of practice, of lifelong practice, and it will come if we keep practicing through the Guru's grace.
Yes. And thank you so much, Acharya-ji, with your wonderful experience from Mom. You have been pouring us a lot of guidance. And one last question is, could you define mantra, and what have been the changes that you have experienced as inner realization by surrendering to the mantra? So it's about your personal experience as well. So you need to share it.
Well, mantra means man is mind, tra is across. So it's the thought that takes the mind across. And where's the across? This bhava, this sea of becoming, this samsara, which is not really external, it's internal. The sea we have to cross, as I mentioned, this inner veil of ignorance, which is made up of tumultuous thoughts, of egotistic desires, all these things. This mantra will take the mind across that. I can tell you, we don't speak about our own experiences much, but I know through my daily practice, my mind has become calmer and clearer, and I have many insights into my own deeper nature and some very, very deep experiences of my contact with God, of my presence with Ma, and the mantra has become the dearest friend. I try to use it as much as I can. I've had times in my life when I've been in danger. One time I was lost in the jungle in South India with, tigers and bears and everything. I clung to the mantra and felt no fear. And I always feel daily in my practice, my daily meditation practice, as I'm doing it, I get into a state where I feel there's nothing else to do. I feel with complete faith that if I continue in this practice, it will take me to the highest goal. I experience that daily. So I will say that mantra has its wonderful effects, and it will take you to the goal.
Thank you so much, Acharya-ji. And yeah, we have so much of questions still coming in. And also, many have been sharing their experience, what they were experiencing in the presence of both of you and with Ma in the divine presence. And it has been a wonderful devotional experience for all our participants. And I think Shivanand Naik, one of our participants, have said, it gives me a feeling like as if I'm in the Kumbh Mela, with so many sadhus coming in this online digital platform to the Global Festival of Yoga and giving various forms of yoga. And I think kirtan and Naam Japa and Sadhana are the most essential fundamental practices of yoga as such. Even when Patanjali talks of the Ishvara, he says, Tasya Vachaka Pranavaha. Pranava or the Om is Ishvara's representation, and that Japam, you need to do the Japa of the Omkara Pranava along with the artha, contemplation on its meaning and its significance also. I think
Yes.
that's the wonderful sadhana marga that you have taught us today in this wonderful session. And before we go towards further things, I would want you to give a message and also to sing one last kirtan for all of us, where we can again get into the divine bliss of Ma's presence. Before that, I would like to know, like, you from a far off place, from a different country, and in those days, in fact, it's not today that the technology has developed. The communication is so easy that people from all over the world come here to India to meet spiritual saints. But Acharya Mangalananda, you had come to Ma when not such technological developments were there. How did you get to know about that enlightened master Ma at India? And how did you land up here to Ma's presence? So we want to know about your transformation, Acharya.
Well, I was just 18 years old and part of this dissident generation of young people who were exploring drugs and all sorts of different things. And I met a great yogi from Rishikesh, Swami Satchidananda Saraswati, from a disciple of Shivananda, Swami Shivananda of Divine Life Society. And he was a wonderful yogi, and I felt very inspired by him. And so I, through his influence and grace, I was able to correct my life and start my spiritual life. And I moved into his ashram and received diksha from him. And then I went to one of his classes one time, and a disciple of Anandamayi Ma was there. I never heard of her. And he showed a little 8mm film, this is before video cameras, of Ma, and I had a very deep experience of Ma suddenly coming to life and communicating and relating to me. So I felt I should learn to see her. So I moved into this person's ashram with the blessings of Swami Satchidananda, and lived there practicing sadhana and learning about Ma. Then I went to India in 1973 when I was just 19 years old, and followed Ma around and kept asking her for diksha. And she would always say, when the time is right. And finally we were in her ashram, because she has 24 ashrams, and for 50 years Ma never stopped moving. From 1932 she left Bengal until she left her body in 1982. She continually moved, just called by people's hearts and necessities. She would just, there were so many stories of Ma just showing up in places where people were calling for her from their heart. So I followed her around, and then in Vrindavan, she sent a message, said, come to the mandir tomorrow, you'll have your diksha. And I realized it was my birthday. It was actually the day of my birth, my 20th birthday. So on the day of my birth, my physical birth, I got spiritual birth also and had diksha from Ma. And then I was living in ashrams from that time until just 6 years ago, with different saints of her lineage and different experiences with that.
So that's the real kind of transformation that we get in the presence of the Divine Mother. And बहुत अच्छा था आचार्य जी, आपका ये सब अनुभव सुन के, ये आध्यात्मिक अनुभव सुन के बहुत अच्छा लग रहा था. और हम जानते हैं आप हिंदी भी अच्छी तरफ बोलते हैं, सो हमारा जो ऑडियंस है, जो भारत के अलग अलग जगहों से, उनको आपका हिंदी का वाणी सुनने का इच्छा भी है. थोड़ा बहुत आपका आशीर्वाद हिंदी में भी दीजिए.
मैं कोशिश करूंगा. तो माँ आदि शक्ति है और माँ देव अवतार है. और अगर माँ के बारे में सोचते हैं और माँ से प्रार्थना करते हैं, माँ का आशीर्वाद आएगा, बिल्कुल हमें आएगा. सो हमेशा माँ के बारे में सुनना चाहिए, हमेशा सोचना चाहिए, प्रार्थना करना चाहिए, और माँ हमें हमारा जीवन सफल हो जाएगा माँ की कृपा से. बहुत महत्वपूर्ण. माँ अभी तक जिंदा है, माँ की देहांत नहीं हो गया, माँ शरीर छोड़ दिया, लेकिन माँ जिंदा है. माँ हमेशा सुन रही है हमारा प्रार्थना, हमेशा आशीर्वाद दे रही है. तो अगर हम माँ सोचूंगा, माँ हमें सोचेगी. ऐसा है. ठीक है. So
I don't know. There is some sound, unusual sound, which is
strange sound is coming. I don't know where it's coming. It's not coming from us.
not from here too. I don't know. And all of us, all others are unmuted, or sorry, or rather muted. So anyhow, maybe it's a probably a symbol of the divine Naam coming in a subtle way.
Shabda Brahman.
Shabda Brahman, very true. So, बहुत धन्यवाद Acharya ji, and I think for the benefit of our non-Hindi viewers, Acharya ji told that Shri Ma is still today even present in her subtle presence. She would have left the gross body, but she is the subtle and causal entity, and she is even today giving her divine presence. And all that we need to do is to go into get attuned to her presence by hearing her name, by chanting, by opening our heart to her and receiving her divine grace always in her presence. So that's a wonderful, living message that Acharya Mangalananda ji had given to us. And so before, I would like to request Acharya ji to give us one more experiential, kirtan. Before that, I request our team to tell about the next program for today. A sadhika who is meditating and who experiences the shattering of her ego and tamas, and also how the divine intervention, how the Divya Shakti Ma, we were talking of Ma Anandamayi Ma, and that's Ma, how she, the mother, comes and shatters the tamas and ego from the sadhaka, and how the divine love and radiance is established in the sadhaka's heart. That's what we're going to see in a small video presentation, Acharya ji and Mataji, and I would like you to watch it also. And so, my dear friends, the participants, and today evening, you have been watching all these days the wonderful presentation of Namami Yoga Vidya. And today evening, we are going to have the team of Namami Yoga Vidya, Rukmini Vijay Kumar, along with her, the team of the artist, the music director, Sri Rajkumar Bharati, who is none other than the grandson of Subramanya Bharati, great-grandson of Subramanya Bharatiya, the great poet, who was also a great patriot saint. So he would be present, Rajkumar Bharati, Rukmini Vijay Kumar, and the entire team of people who brought this, who made it possible, the Namami Yoga Vidya. So don't miss it in the evening between 7 to 8:30. It will be a 1.5 hour session. I'm sure you're going to have an excellent time. And also we have Mala Kapadia, the professor and a director from Wellness Practice. So she is going to give us practice on Ayurvedic psychology. We heard of Ayurveda from Dr. Ram Manohar, and today Mala Kapadia is going to conduct a workshop on Ayurvedic psychology and heart-centered living. So today, I think it's all connected to heart. So Acharya ji brought us a wonderful, heartful, kirtan. So it's heart-centered living, which Mala Kapadia ji is going to present to us. Thank you for your blessings too. So, we are so glad that you could watch it today. And that's a production from Indica Yoga for this Global Yoga Festival. And yes, friends, those who have not yet registered, we have 3 separate registration links for the 3 of the different sessions, morning and noon and evening sessions. So please do click the registration forms. One time you need to register for all the session, but separately, one registration for the morning sessions, one for the day session, one for the evening session. So please do feel free. It's a free event. So please do share with many of your friends. Let many people get benefit out of all these divine sessions that we are having. And actually, I would like to, before I could conclude, I would like to say, Acharya ji, I am in Bangalore at this Adhyatma Yoga Shala. Just behind me is Ma Anandamayi's Ashram. I don't know how far you can see it.
Wonderful.
We have the Bangalore, Ma Anandamayi Ashram, Anandamayi Bhagavat Bhavan, which is there just behind me. We have the beautiful shrine of Lakshmi Narayan and Ma Anandamayi here. Today it is maintained by the Sringeri Shankaracharya Mutt, but where Ma's presence is very much felt by all of us. So it's just behind. I'm sitting here. I rather thought I would go today to the ashram and have this connection from there, But then Ma said, "You be wherever you are. I will come and reach you."
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, buddy.
Yes. So we would like to hear your concluding kirtan and also your concluding message. Many are asking, do we have any specific kirtan or mantra that we need to chant during this COVID-19, the current pandemic situation? Is there any specific mantra for us to chant for that? If so, that could be the last mantra that you could guide us.
Okay.
And,
okay, well, let's do a kirtan, a very simple kirtan to Ma. I'll just do it briefly since we're short on time. We simply say Jai Ma, O Ma, Shri Ma, Jai Jai Ma.
all audience, please join with us. Please join with me. Yes.
Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Matra Rupena Samstita. Namastasye, 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 Namo Namah. Jaya Ma, 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 Anandamayi Ma, Jai Jai Ma. 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 Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma. Om Ma Shri Mama, 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 Om Ma Shri Mama. Om Ma Shri Mama, Om Ma Shri Mama, Om Ma Shri Ma, Jai Jai Ma. 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 Om Ma, 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 Om Anandamayi Ma, Jaya Jaya Ma. Anandamayi Ma, Jaya Jaya Ma. Jai Ma. I think a very effective mantra for this COVID, I've been doing it every day in my puja, is the Mahamrityunjaya mantra. I think people know it's Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshya Mamritat. That's done many times. It's very effective for this because it's both driving out darkness, healing. It's very effective. But any mantra you do has power. So if we should do mantras, and it's true, we do mantras for other things too. We do mantras for our own development, and we can also chant them for the world, for people who are sick, for the situation of the world at large. Anything we do contributes to that light that will make things happen in the right way rather than the dark way. We do have a power within us, and we do have a responsibility to use it. We can make a difference.
Excellent. No words to speak. You have filled our heart with Ma's divine grace and with the bliss of the divine Nama, the Shabda Brahma. And I think a couple of days back, we had a lecture session on Bhakti Yoga, and that was by Professor Raghuramji, where he spoke about Bhakti Yoga. And that was a theoretical session, and today you made us to practice and experience what real Bhakti Yoga is. And thank you, Acharya ji, and actually we have all got connected heart to heart with you and Mataji, but also in case any of our participants would want to get connected to you, so how can they reach you? So is there any way of contacting you?
My email is matriprasad. Ma gave me the name Matriprasad in my diksha. It was later changed when I got later dikshas in our lineage to Mangalananda. But Matriprasad, it means Mother's Grace. M-A-T like Thomas, R-I-P like Peter, R-A-S-A-D like dog. Matriprasad 1008 @gmail.com.
1008.
All right. Matriprasad 1008 @gmail.com.
Yes, you have really given us the Matri Prasad, Maa ki Prasad और Maa ki Anugraha. हम सबको आपने बांट लिया आज. बहुत खुश है आचार्य जी. We are so thankful to you for this wonderful, divine experience, that blissful experience that you have given us. No words to thank you. We can only share our heart's feelings and pranams to you and Mataji. हम सब लोग आप दोनों को बहुत बहुत आभारी है. And the scripture says, yat phalam nasti tapasa na yogena samadhina tat phalam labhate samyak khalo keshava kirtana. So what you cannot get by doing even the samadhi, which is by ashtanga, yes, people are there who can get it by doing the ashtanga yoga, but not for everybody in common. So the Kali Yuga, the marga for the Kali Yuga is Nama Sankirtana. So
Yes.
that which you cannot get by doing hardcore tapas and difficult sadhana of samadhi and all, but we can get it Kalo Keshava Kirtana by doing the kirtan of the Lord divine that we can get. And I think that's what it is. Yoga is manaf prashamana upayaha. Yoga is the calming down of mind, and we really experience that, and experiencing the oneness with the Atma and Amma, the divine mother, is as our Paramatma, we as her child, as the Jivatma. This Matru Shakti and a Matru Vatsalya that we can experience today, we could really experience with Mother's presence here. I also have Shri Ma Sharda Devi with me here. So mothers, that's no matter the physical forms of mothers change, but the grace is the same of the universal mother. And you made us experience that, Acharya Ji and Mataji. On behalf of Indica Yoga's Global Yoga Festival and each and every divine soul who came today, participated through the Zoom and also the Facebook, YouTube, various online platforms today. On all our behalf, we offer our humble pranams to you and thank you so much. And we would wish to have more and more such satsangs from both of you and friends. So we again in the afternoon we have Mala Kapadia's workshop on Ayurvedic psychology and heartful living, and also in the evening we're going to have Namami Yoga Vidya team to interact with our Indica Yoga team, and we are going to have a lot of fun today, heartfelt sessions today. Thank you all so much. Dhanyavad. Namaste.
You're doing a beautiful work. Hame bulaenge hamaenge paka. Bhavishya
Zero. I wish you should come here to Ma Anandamayi's Bhavan at Bangalore here, and we want both of you to come and have wonderful sadhana sessions to lead all sadhakas who are waiting to hear from both of you, Acharya ji.
Bilkul. Bhavishya Jai Ma.
Jai Ma. Jai Ma.